The striker hunt continues for Manchester United, and we're starting to see names being thrown in the media and everything in between. Like we least expected that some of the names that we're hearing and seeing are the names that are going to be going to Manchester United, or the kind of players that we need for the now. And fans are also in outrage, basically. But the truth is, Man United desperately need a striker. And, we're going to be digging deep into what could be the most important conversation for Manchester United summer. And basically, who should lead the line next season. I mean, we know the names that are doing the rounds, as we spoke about in the past. Rasmus Højlund, we have Victor Osimhen, questions about Rasmus Højlund staying or going. We also have, the report about Oli Watkins, wanting to be, potentially linked with Manchester United. We also have Ivan Toney and so on. But what if I told you that there is a second tier of targets, less flashy, less headline grabbing, but arguably most realistic, and in some cases just as effective. And today we're exploring, the 6 striker alternatives that Manchester United could and maybe should go after. These are based on, a great article from OneFootball, and it will just kind of highlight my own takes, also their tactical fit, and how each player should impact the rebuild under Ruben Amorim. So let's get into it. So number one, the first one is Mateo Retegui. Retegui is a player who plays for Genoa. Mateo Retegui is, if you've been following the Serie A, it's the name that won't surprise you. I mean, he's playing for Genoa and just had a quietly lethal season with 28 goals. 28 goals in his debut campaign in Italy. He's 6'1", strong, aggressive, and more importantly, he's efficient. When he gets chances, he converts. Now, why would this matter at United? Because that's exactly what we're looking for, and that's what we're actually lacking. Our XG versus goals scored has been very low, has been actually below par, and we are missing key chances. And in games where we dominate possession, we still don't bury our opponents. Now, Retegui could also be a clinical option, and he won't cost 90 million like Osimhen. And because he is not in one of Europe's super clubs yet, there's room to negotiate. I could see him rotating with Højlund or Cunha, or even forming a proper front three or front two if we're playing a 3-5-2 or 3-4-3 formation. And then Cunha has also played with players of Retegui's type in Wolves and all of that, with Strand Larsen, I think comfortably scoring, 10 to 15 goals, I believe, in the last season. So Retegui would also be a good addition, with Mbumo potentially and Matheus Cunha already signed behind him, or even Ahmad or Bruno behind him with Cunha on one side. That would be a very good addition to the squad. But what do you guys think? Is Retegui a good player that we can actually go for? Let me know in the comment section. Also, another player that we could potentially go for is Serhou Guirassy. Currently just crashed out at the Club World Cup in Dortmund. He scored a couple of goals. I think he scored about 4 goals or 3 goals in the Club World Cup. They picked him up after he scored 28 goals in 28 Bundesliga games for Stuttgart. And guess what? He's still scoring. This guy is a monster in the box, basically. Physical presence, finishing instincts, big game mentality. He's a bit older. He's 29, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Think of him like a Cavani-style signing, short term, but, hugely impactful. Amorim's system doesn't require the striker to drop deep or to be overly flashy. It needs efficiency, vertical threats, and a presence in the box. Guirassy fits that perfectly. Dortmund are still building their squad, and if they bring in another forward, Guirassy could also be available for a cut price. But Guirassy also is a top scorer in Dortmund, and he's their number 9 and all of that. So it will be a huge ask if Manchester United could get Guirassy, and if Dortmund would want to sell him for cheap, but it is what it is. But if we're able to get it for a cut price, that would be a good steal, for Man United. And it will also rival Rasmus Højlund, who's quite young, 22, 23. And then obviously Chido Obi can actually learn from him, as an experienced player, 29, right, for Guirassy. Now, the next one would be third on the list, and this one really excites me, and that is Vangelis Pavlidis, right? It's Vangelis Pavlidis, who made his move to Benfica after torching the Eredivisie with AZ Alkmaar. Now, last season he had 30 goals and 13 assists. What makes him unique is his versatility. He can also play across the front three, drops deep, combines well with the midfield runners, and also still scores consistently. Now, if Amorim wants flexibility, Pavlidis offers that in abundance. I mean, he could play. You could play him up top in the 4-2-3-1, of which I know Man United were not going to play that, but he has played that in the 4-2-3-1, and he can also play as a left-sided forward in the 3-4-3. His game reminds me of a bit of Karim Benzema. Yeah, he's the Karim Benzema-esque kind of player: intelligent movement, subtle touches, and the striker who makes the system work better. Benfica reportedly rate him highly. Very highly, but it's still early days. I mean, United could also test the waters with an offer, maybe even involving a player swap. I mean, that would not be a far cry as well. But also we need to look into him. Pavlidis, his stats also defines the kind of player that he is and how he will fit the system. He can play, like I said earlier, in the left of the 3-4-3, of which we already have a left 10, so he'll probably play as the center forward, and then there can also be some fluid movements where Cunha could play as a center forward and switch back to the left 10 and all of that. So it depends on how Manchester United intends to play and how Amorim envisions the team to play. And then the next person on our list would be Simon Banza of Braga. Now, Simon Banza, not a well-known player, but also a player that we can actually take a punt at. For example, just hear me out on this. He scored 21 goals in 28 games after returning to Braga, and he's one of those players who just understands where to be. His positioning is excellent, and while he may not have blistering pace, he's sharp in the box, the kind of player that gets forgotten when big clubs are shopping for strikers, but could also become a cult hero under the right manager. And with Ruben Amorim's Portuguese roots and his old connections with Liga Portugal, this is the kind of under the radar pickup that makes sense. He wouldn't break the bank, but also could be the perfect backup striker or rotation option. He's one player that Manchester United can actually look at, Simon Banza of Braga. I haven't watched him much, but I've seen some highlights online, and I think he's one player that we can actually take a punt at and try to build something from. Then also another one, I think this should be number, let me see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5, Jean-Philippe Mateta, Crystal Palace. Now we're talking about someone who has Premier League experience. Jean-Philippe Mateta from Crystal Palace, goal scoring player, tall player. This might not be the same, the name that United fans are dreaming of, but I think there was some dust raised in the last couple of weeks or month where Manchester United were interested in Jean-Philippe Mateta. I might not be the one to kind of tell you that, this would be the perfect player that Man United can sign, but I'll tell you that Mateta had a strong season under Oliver Glasner, and he scored 14 league goals, often as a substitute, and showed tremendous work rate and link-up play. I think he should be around 20 in his mid-20s, I believe. He is physical, he presses well, and most importantly, he understands the league. That's not nothing. I mean, if United wants someone who can hit the ground running, Mateta could also be an effective option, especially if United want to rotate for for the cup games or use a second striker in the cup competitions. Now, here is the kicker. He's got just 1 year left in his contract and could be going for around 15 to 20 million pounds. And that's a good steal. But what do you guys think? Is Jean-Philippe Mateta a player that we can go for? Is he one that would thrive under Ruben Amorim in our system? Is he a marauding forward that you can actually think about in all of this striker hunt and all of that? But let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. And the last one, number 6, Man United can go for is the wild card. He plays for Vitória Guimarães. Now, he plays for Vitória Guimarães. His name is Promise David. He's a Canadian striker, currently at Vitória Guimarães. I've watched him play when I watched Canada play. I've watched him play when we've been playing the World Cup qualifiers. I've watched him play when we've been playing at the Gold Cup and all of that. He's a 6'5" player. He's of Nigerian roots as well, but he's Canadian. And he's still raw, still developing, but watch him and see that that he's a problem to defenders. Great acceleration for his size, strong in the air, and a willingness to run in behind. I mean, he's not a polished striker yet, but United don't have many prospects like this in the pipeline, except for someone like Chido Obi, who is also coming up like that. But it's not one you could say he will be a starter for striker, because once he starts messing up, you would see that the media are going to climb on his back. But if we're thinking of long term, Promise David could also be brought in, loaned out, or integrated slowly through cup games and preseason. He's not a marquee name now, but in 1 or 2 years, who knows? Remember when no one rated Darwin Núñez at Almeria? Same vibe. So this is something we need to think about. There you have it. These are 6 striking options that aren't dominating the headlines, but absolutely, should be on Manchester United's radar. And I'm going to go through them again. We have Mateo Retegui, Serie A sharpshooter. We have Serhou Guirassy, Bundesliga, battering ram. And we have Vangelis Pavlidis. I keep missing the name. Vangelis Pavlidis, creative, versatile forward. We have Simon Banza, smart finisher, proven in Portugal. Jean-Philippe Mateta, Premier League ready, contract winding down. We have Promise David, a wild card and a real upside. It's time to stop, overpaying for hype and start building a system with sensible, hungry, system-fit players. Amorim wants discipline, flexibility, and intensity, and these players could all offer a piece of that puzzle. Now, that's it from me today, basically. Let me know your thoughts and feelings about, these strikers. And thank you so much for tuning in to United Talks podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section and listen to us wherever you can, whenever you can, and also follow us on all our social media platforms. But also, give us your thoughts on some of these things, some of these players that I have mentioned. If you have watched any of them, live or in a game, actually, you could actually give us your thoughts and let me know what you think about these players that I have mentioned, these 6 players, potential strikers that we need, that we can buy for the now. Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, goodbye, and God bless.